In today's video, we're going to discuss the topic blood does not make family. It's an additional video to the one I've made prior, why most parents do not wish the best for their children. And in order to understand why that is the case, I have to once again explain the topics about free will and time, God's given gift to humanity and everyone who is in this universe. You have to understand free will and time are resources of incredible value, of incredible power. Not everyone is mature enough to understand how to use them effectively. Meaning, you could have someone who's in their 90s, that I've also mentioned quite a few times, who hasn't seen through a single illusion in life, while we have on the other side a 14-year-old one, already at that young age, being able to see through propaganda and nonsense quite easily, and therefore effectively avoiding nonsense that, for example, could destroy someone else's life or put them into great disadvantage. That's called wisdom. Knowing you will not benefit from an experience regardless the polarity, because you were already doing, for example, the inner work prior. It doesn't matter if someone is 14, they could have already started with meditation, reading books, listening to certain types of music around the age of 9 to 10. So someone like that effectively and heavily delves into these topics, develops a complete different understanding, not just of himself or herself, but also of the surroundings. And the sooner you start with certain things, of course, the quicker the results show up in time that people absolutely do not like. It doesn't matter if it's your own family, if it's your own parents. They, for example, might absolutely not like that you have certain talents, that you have a skill set, that you have a mindset far superior than their own. Because they weren't able to, for example, again the example of the example, they weren't able to solve certain problems about themselves and their surroundings in a certain time frame. Meaning, they didn't know it better. Now, anyone in their family showed up and did exactly that in a quick time frame that could stretch from a year to 5, whatever the topic is. They solved that problem. They fixed certain things. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter, They have a certain hobby, they have a certain skill set, mindset, once again. Effectively moving through reality in a different way than them. So if someone, for example, is making way more money at a quicker rate than their own parents, their own uncles and aunts, whatnot, money equals power, status, and much more. That basically, in different terms, highlights they have more authority. Even though that individual might not express that to the outside. Might be humble, I don't care. It doesn't matter. They see that as an attack on their own value, of their own self. Because they were unable to overcome that obstacle. Where someone else easily managed that. Quite easy. And once again, the factor of time. Someone is able to solve problems, internal problems, traumata, all kinds of nonsense, bullshittery and drama that plagues that family for a long time. Someone comes along and solves everything in 5 years. Is absolutely not drug addicted, doesn't fall into the same patterns and habits, thought patterns, moves differently through life. Everything in their favor, while the rest of the family struggling all life long. They might have a hobby that they later on turn to money. So they're actually never working in life. They have great joy, they can do that stuff for 16 hours. They don't feel stressed. They do not feel as if they are working. They have great joy in what they're doing. But in the beginning, they might be mocked, laughed about, ridiculed. How can you be that dumb to even walk that path? To even see a vision that you eventually will make yourself known in the outside world sooner or later and benefit from that. They themselves, of course, didn't do that. They went the easy path, the safe path that everyone else is also walking. Like I said quite a few times, monkeys who are undermining each other all the time, the moment they see that someone else breaks out of a pattern, breaks out of a family dynamic, breaks out of societal structures, the focus is on them. All attention is on them. Yeah, like if you are on stage and the lights point towards you, you are the focus of attention. Right now, I am the focus of attention. Most people cannot deal being the center of attention, even though they would like to. Average people all the time think their opinion is the most important on the planet. Give them a microphone and let them know they are now recorded. Suddenly they cannot talk anymore. Suddenly they are stuttering. Suddenly they wish they could just vanish or quickly tell their opinion and then vanish, because everyone is watching the potential of millions of people. If they are, for example, be seen on TV, just remember back in time in school. Most people were not able to successfully, confidently talk in front of an audience, even capture the idea that this is a potential to time to shine, basically, right? So you absolutely should never take advice from someone whose life you do not want. Someone is fat. You absolutely do not listen to their nutrition advice, or if you should do sport or not, or what kind of workout you should be doing. Because obviously they aren't following their own guidance. They give a shit about their own body, about their own mindset, their spirit, the soul. They lack any ambition to even think of the idea of seeing themselves as a better version. Because they're confidently being lazy. Lazy fucks. Another example, if someone is bad with finances, you do not take their advice. If they fucked up investing money, for example, into certain stocks, certain companies, they maybe started their own business, they failed, and immediately stopped. Never tried again, because most adults, they only try things once or twice. Not like little children who try to get up and learn how to walk. They fall down hundreds, if not thousands of times. Now imagine little children were somehow able to understand how adults think. And someone would tell them, what the fuck are you doing there? We would have a society where no one is able to walk. Quite easily. Would just take maybe 50 years, no one would be able to walk. Because almost everyone would give up after failing once or twice, especially if it hurts, But children are closer to source energy, therefore believing in themselves, trusting in themselves, trusting in the process. Not caring what everyone is thinking of them, After all, they are superhuman. They will be always winning. You will be always losing. They haven't lost. You have lost. Great mom, great dad. They know everything. They are full of energy. They're their idol. A few years later, they understand that the parents don't know shit. When it comes to love, relationships, marriage, their marriage, for example, falling apart, and they're fighting over many, many years, constant arguing, you do not take advice of such people because they themselves, once again, are not following their own guidance. They don't know better. There's a reason why they're arguing in the first place. So why should, for example, a child take advice when it comes to love from their own mother or a father if they're failing miserably? They might be, for example, already in therapy. They might be counseling. And it doesn't work. It doesn't matter. Yeah? They're not following their own guidance. They're arguing all the time. And if they are mentally retarded, it's even a bigger problem in the end. There might be lots of examples that you can think of. A husband comes home around 9-10 p.m., completely exhausted from work. No one's in the living room. You can sit there, you turn on TV. There's a channel that appears to be where they are selling, for example, underwear, bikini models, whatnot. No one is around. The laptop is too far away. So you might be doing, or what do most men do when they are completely stressed over extended periods of time? We all do that. So you, for example, masturbate to that TV channel where they're selling bikinis. And a mentally deranged wife now comes suddenly out of nowhere and is complaining and bursting out in anger. Yeah, complaining once more. What the fuck is someone doing there? How can you, the man, how can that man masturbate, throwing away the marriage, throwing away, because they, for example, are already in therapy. You're throwing away each week $800. You know damn well that you will never get that bikini model. You will never be with her. Tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la. Do you really want to take advice from someone that insecure, that miserable on the inside, that fucked up in the mind? While the other one is, for example, pleading to be silent, to not talk that much, because someone else might hear that. I give a fuck. This is disgusting. You're throwing everything away. Each week, $800 gone because you're masturbating to a bikini model on TV around 10 p.m. Obviously, you shouldn't take any advice from such mentally deranged morons. After all, a moronic moron doesn't know that they are a moron. But their behavior greatly shows and highlights that to the external world. They give a fuck. And once again, if they're mentally retarded, they have a personality disorder that I mentioned heavily in the video, why most parents do not wish the best for their children. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's around, who could hear something, they're completely lost. This is the most brutal, disgusting disaster that someone could do. Just wanking 10 minutes so the stress is off. Because they themselves on the inside, that wife, is that little insignificant fuck. Insignificant because, not because I say so, but through their own choices taken in life prior. Such a housewife, over time, probably has become a fat cow. Therefore, completely horrified seeing her own husband wanking to a bikini model, a figure, an aesthetic look she most likely will never achieve in life. Because such people, such miserable housewives, are lazy, stupid, weak, and undisciplined. There's a reason why they are fat. There's a reason why people are miserable on the inside and spitting that garbage nonsense energy to everyone around them. So basically everyone around in that family dynamic, if you have multiple siblings or you're just a single child, you're suffering. Your father is suffering, and the roles can be also, exchanged. So the father is more of a problem because the father might be an alcoholic and beating the woman, beating their own children. So for each family, it is a complete different scenario. But the end goal of such people is very clear. They want to control their environment. They want to make sure that no one is prospering, that no one has opportunities given to them because of their energy, the negative energy sticking to everyone in that family dynamic, even potentially to extended family members, therefore making it very, very difficult, if not close to impossible, to achieve wealth. Because just a few people, especially parents, are able to completely destroy their own children's life because the child relies on a parent to believe in the kid, right? If your closest people do not believe in your potential, it's very, very difficult, if not impossible, for a majority of people on this planet to fulfill their potential. Basically, like at one point, they will become adults. The door is wide open, the cage is open, but the bird is unable to fly. The bird is hesitant and needs to learn now on its own how to fly. It needs a structural system, a support system. For example, different family members, or more likely, friends and your significant other. Imagine the children who never grew up with parents. They, of course, sooner or later will see their significant other as family. Yes, not just a lover, the best friend, the ultimate best friend, but also as home, because there has never been a support system to begin with. They now heavily rely on someone who's like a rock, who's close to impossible to shake. Because once again, they are a rock. They need someone who's calm on the inside, who has sharp vision, who is able to solve problems, be it internal problems or external problems. Therefore, heavily relying on that guidance, that vision. Once again, be it friends that you meet not across the street. You most likely will meet such people all across the planet. And at one point, all of you will be together in a certain location. It's very rare that your best, absolute, ultimate friends that you can 100% rely on. I'm saying 100%. Not those when it becomes a little bit difficult, then they back off and you never hear from them ever again. Because after all, if someone backs off once you walk through difficult times, that's not a friend and that's no one you want to have around you to begin with. Because such people will betray you. The moment it becomes difficult, you clearly see who is who. And in many families, they absolutely do not care that you walk through different times. They will more likely try to control your environment, your finances, how you should be thinking, what you should be doing. My famous examples: you should become an architect, not a designer. In another family, you should not become a designer, but a lawyer. You shouldn't become a lawyer, but a doctor, and more. Therefore, making sure that the child all the time stays under control, especially if, for example, uncles and aunts are contributing to that doubt, to that heavy doubt, in order for someone not being able to fulfill their potential, because they eventually rely on that child's future. Potential is there, they very well know it, therefore exploiting it. And if they can't control someone else, such people absolutely do not want you to succeed. Absolutely not. Because you would be doing it in a far quicker time frame due to your potential, your skill set, your mindset, which would greatly highlight you are far superior to your own parents, to your own uncles and aunts and grandmas and grandfathers, to basically everyone, cousins, whatever. You are the one who is far superior. You are the one with that hidden potential. You are the one that can break out of that family dynamic, and they don't want that. They would greatly see in you what they have missed in life all those decades prior. They haven't done any inner work. They would never change their behavior. They would never start to, on a daily basis, clean their house, for example. They would never do sport like crazy every second day. There's no excuses. From now on, every second day, sport. 2 hours or 1 hour. But it's every second day. There is not a time where you just skip it because you don't want to. Every second day. Every second day meditation. Every second day you do a journaling. Every second day you check your finances. Every second day you go for a walk. Minimum 1 hour. Every second day you maybe do something completely different. You spice things up. Every weekend you do a fasting. Or once a month for 3 days you completely fast. You change things up they were unable to do in decades. Through their own free will, they decided not to do things because at one point they become unconscious, no longer consciously walking through life. Unconscious people do not want to expend more energy by becoming conscious. Like I said in the video, 5 habits you should be avoiding, or the video about how you know that you're far ahead of most people. Write on paper right after you are waking up 3 to 5 things you want to do on that day that you need to do. And those 3 to 5 things are the most disgusting, in your opinion. They are a complete chore to even think about having to do. Nothing more. Everything else that you eventually accomplish is a bonus. Nothing else. Don't do this bullshit like I've also described that heavily in that video. Do not do 10, 20 things on a day and the next day again 10, 20 things. Because in 2 weeks of time, you will be doing nothing anymore. You need to be doing it on a daily basis, on a disciplined way, just 3 to 5 things, that's all. And if you want to do more, you can. But those 3 to 5 things that you write down every single morning after waking up, whatever it is, you're going to do that. And by having that structure, that discipline, that mindset, that winner mentality, because you want to change something for the better, your energy shifts and they can feel it. Your family members, whoever it is, can feel that and they will despise you for that, especially if they have personality disorders, if they are mentally retarded. They will not like that. They want to have you under control, whoever it is. Your own uncle could despise you like crazy. Your own mother doesn't want to see you having a great life, doesn't want to see you being happy in a wonderful relationship. Your own father all the time beat the shit out of you because he failed in life miserably, and you do not want, for example, to follow in line so that he can live through that kid, or through yourself, maybe you had such an experience, a second life, and he can aura form through that child. In modern times, you would say that is the case. It's all the jealousy, hatred, and envy because they have lost the time. They didn't have a certain knowledge. They didn't have certain possibilities and opportunities given to them. Nothing. But you make things happen pretty quickly, pretty easily, effortlessly. Because you eventually have that winner mindset early on. You didn't have to learn anything. It comes naturally out of you. Differently. You walk differently through life. Smoothly, elegantly, with great, great confidence. That they lack, absolutely. They're insignificant once again through their own choices taken in life prior. Insignificant little fucks, miserable on the inside, loser mindset, loser quality people around them, loser everything. Loser thoughts, basically. They don't want you to be happy. They don't want you to climb up the ladder of success. Success can be anything. They don't want to see that happen. Do you think someone who is divorced wants to see someone else in the family being happy? Yeah, believe in love, believe in love. They are just freshly divorced, devastated. Do you believe you can get great advice from such people? It depends, of course, of the core energy of a human being. Is someone all the time a good person? How do you feel around such people? Because I've mentioned a few examples, and you might not know how heavily, for example, your parents are arguing, your uncles with your parents are arguing, whatever the case it is. It's not just children. Uncles can be jealous of your parents. It's vice versa, whatever the case it is. The core problem is still the same. There's information given at a certain point, at a certain time, and people didn't use that. They were not even conscious enough to capture that moment, to be able to change something. They were not wise enough, not mature enough to highlight themselves to the external world in a positive way. Because change takes time, change takes effort, change is painful. People don't want painful things. It's easier to become unconsciously fat than to become consciously ripped. Obviously. You are unable to heal in environments that try to destroy you, that try to hold you down. They want to have you in their claws. They want to crush you. And if you are not brave enough to break out of such family dynamics, you basically fall in line. You do not do the job or the hobby that you want to go for. You do not speak up for a relationship. You follow in line. You start to abandon that relationship, maybe even sabotage it over time because you want to follow in line and be liked by your parents or your uncles, whatever. Guess what is going to happen the moment you start to fail in life? Do you really believe they will have your back? No. They will most likely attack you. What the fuck is wrong with you? Get up. What the fuck is wrong with you, boy or girl? Why are you crying? Are you that weak? What's wrong with you? Huh? People who are miserable on the inside want to portray that to the outside. They don't want to see you happy once again. They don't want to see you succeed in that hobby that you have. Because you doing that hobby, you fighting for that relationship, you doing XYZ means you are brave enough, you have courage to stand for yourself, that they lack greatly. And they are obviously a few decades older than you. So for sure you can be assured that they don't like that development, that spirit in someone rising up. Losers hate winners. Winners absolutely ignore losers and see those who really give in effort, who really try to do something, to accomplish something. They will hand out their hand and help them climb up because they want to see everyone succeed. That's a great feeling. You can accomplish something in life. You can see other people accomplish something in life. You are happy for them. You're happy that they have so much money and that they suddenly make 60,000 more in a year. Those 60,000 will become 150,000 more, maybe in 3 years, And it's more and more and different opportunities. The body looks better. The mind is more sharp. The focus razor sharp. Different friend circle, different opportunities, different experiences in life. Everything is wonderful. And you still try to optimize everything. Yeah? Your thought patterns, your nutrition plan, your relationship, what can be done. But it's in a healthy way, not in an obsessed, crazy, controlling way. Once again, some family members might not know the entire family dynamic, the hatred, the secret envy and jealousy that's going on. So how can you, for example, determine who is good and who isn't? Well, ask yourself a simple question, or more like two. How do you feel around certain people? Do you have to think in your mind how to phrase yourself, how to portray yourself? Are you allowed to say certain words? Can you say that just openly, or do you have to repress yourself? And by repressing yourself, Playing it small, basically, just so there is no argument, there's no destruction, there's no focus on you. That is already a toxic environment. And that's just two little things that I've described. Now comes personality disorders, failing marriage, failing in job, failing in whatever, lack of money, lack of health, lack of wealth, everything crumbling down. Payments are not made. Ooh. And now you coming along with your hobby, you coming along with your relationship, you asking for advice for that relationship that you shouldn't ask such people who are constantly over many years arguing all the time. Never ask anyone whose life you do not want to live. If your own parents are arguing, fighting with each other, cheating on each other, whatnot, don't ask for their advice. They're obviously failing in life because they're miserable on the inside. That always portrays on the outside. If someone is happy on the inside, that portrays itself to the outside. They're all the time happy. Nothing can shake them. They want to see the best in people. They want to help the people. Why do you think I make the videos the way I do? Harsh, direct, brutal truth. Not many people can take that. Not many people will like that. I'm not offering any links that you can just simply click to subscribe. I'm not even asking in every single video that people should subscribe. It's just a consideration. And that little pop-up, like and subscribe. That's all. Because it is way more important to activate people than to chase views. Because views later on, of course, equals money. You have power to later on negotiate a better contract for yourself. You can show to someone, look how many subscribers I have, look how many views I got. We can make a deal. I want to have that type of money. I can sell that product to a certain amount of people. You have power to negotiate. And over time, people fall prey to that money. Because that money will be more and more and more. It's very difficult to say no to a certain thing if you know that you, for example, get 20,000. Just like that. Activating people, changing their core energy so that they themselves change over time forever for the better. That's way more important. That's way more satisfying because you know you have helped someone become a winner themselves. You have been the one initiating that, and they themselves realized that potential, realized all the information that, for example, I'm giving, other people are giving, that they themselves are reading all about. There comes a point where everything is collected, compressed, and boom, something is activated. Suddenly, their entire life in the next 2, 3, 4 years is changing for the better. In the beginning, it might be difficult. It might be scary because you're, after all, doing something completely different than before. You leave your old self behind. The old you basically dying. And a stronger version emerges with higher standards. You suddenly do not allow certain people to talk in a certain way to you, about you, whatever. You will not allow that. You will immediately open your mouth. And these people in your family, maybe your siblings might be jealous. Maybe, once again, the parents might be jealous. The uncles and aunts might be jealous. Whoever is jealous of whomever. They don't like that. They will not like that. Absolutely not. Because they themselves were not brave enough to do it for their own good. They wasted years or decades with minimal results. While you completely shake things up in just 1, 2, 3, 4 years. Do you know how do you know that magnitude of what you're doing? Most people do not realize their own potential because they have been talked down all life long. They have been belittled all life long by their own parents. Do not think you can achieve that. Do not do that. That's dangerous. That's risky. This guy, this girl is not good for you. I only want your best. But the relationship, everything was great. The hobby that you're doing fulfills you. The job that you're going for, everyone likes what you're doing. You have objectively spoken great recognition. But your own family dislikes that. Because your own family doesn't want you to succeed. Once again, this is of course only for those people that live in such families, that realize that at one point. They just want to have the best of interest. If they want to have the best of interest for someone, why they themselves are not doing certain things? If someone is fat, if someone is undisciplined, if someone's marriage is falling apart, how can they have the best of interest of their child? That's an impossibility. Because they themselves are not willing to go through the process. That's uncomfortable. Their own husband, their own wife eventually completely sucks. Their children having wonderful future ahead. They have a complete different spouse. Jealousy. Hatred. They can't control the other one. Something needs to be done. The child needs to be manipulated. The uncle and aunt needs to be manipulated because you need their help all the time for repairing certain things. You need to, they need to make sure that someone is not moving away, because that support structure would fall apart. It would be gone, vanished, potentially forever. And they themselves are a miserable, insignificant fuck. Once again, that's why they are spitting all the time lies and deception, and they manipulate their environment. They tell all kinds of nonsense. They can't keep jobs. They all the time need to have a different job. They all the time come home miserably. They all the time try all sorts of things to fuck things up for other people, especially for those who are happy. And once again, if personality disorders are involved, they need to make everything about them. Everything needs to be about them, not you. Who the fuck are you? You're just a useful tool, like a hammer. A hammer? Ooh, this hammer feels light and looks great. And it's designed in a wonderful way. It's a designer hammer. It cost a lot of money. Bam, bam, bam. The nail went in smoothly. Wonderful tool. I like that hammer. And then you put the hammer away, or they put the hammer away, and never think of the hammer again until they need to use it. So, in different words, you are a child, you have a certain skill set, mindset, you are their child, once again, you are useful. The moment you start not to function anymore because you have internal problems, something worries you, something is in your mind, they will belittle you, they will attack you because you're not working. For people who have personality disorders, such parents, you are just a tool. So never start to crave for their attention, for their love. They can't give you that because they themselves don't feel it on the inside. I mean, you clearly see in such family dynamics how those children have been treated all life long. The child all the time craving love and attention and never got it. Sometimes even consciously, purposefully not given, to break down the child, so that even when that kid at one point becomes an adult, is still controllable. So, this is about children. Certain parents might not want their siblings, uncles and aunts later on for other people, for their kids, to move away because the repair structure might fall apart. Your own family, the ones who are later on destroying your entire life. And when you fail in life, if you allow them to destroy you, they will basically punch you when you're on the ground. They will kick you. The fuck is wrong with you? Once again, stand up. They need you. You are failing the family. Guilt tripping, emotional control, physical control, financial control, all sorts of controls, you know? Get up. Do you think you will get sympathy? No. They will kick you. How dare you fall to the ground? How dare you stop what you have to do? The family relies on you. Home is where you absolutely feel safe and loved for who you are without providing anything to anyone. That might be your friends that I've described that you will meet later on in life from all sorts of locations. It might be your significant other, who loves you unconditionally. Unconditional love. Already highlighting there is no condition. I'm just loving you. She is just loving you. You know? Without conditions, nothing. I give love, you give love. That's it. One of my next videos. Unconditional love. What is that? So do not be discouraged if you encountered such family members. Do not give up. Never actually give up. Do not allow anyone, not just them in your own family, anyone to talk down on you. Do not allow anyone to belittle you. Believe in yourself. Start to believe in yourself if you never did. Find a hobby, something that completely fulfills you, where time flies by. When you feel completely secure around certain people, where you do not have to work up something in your mind, how to phrase certain lines, because you might upset someone, because you might harm someone, anger someone, right? And they might do something because of that, you know? They might take away your money because you depend on your parents. They might take away certain opportunities. They will not pay any more for your car. They will not pay any more for your bike. They will do nothing for you anymore. Whatever it is, you need to break out of such family dynamics because they do not have the best of interest. You are a tool, after all, in such disastrous family relationships. And sometimes they are fighting with each other all life long. You just were too small to understand that. And once you have woken up, because you at one point are obviously becoming an adult, or you already are, you see things with different eyes. You see who is who clearly. And they cannot deceive you anymore. They cannot manipulate anymore. They can't do any magic anymore. Nothing, because you clearly are able to see who is good for you and who is a miserable fuck trying to keep you down, so that they themselves do not have to feel bad about their own choices taken in life, which made them obviously an insignificant fuck. Have the courage to be yourself.